This is my Uncle Rory's 1961 Fender Stratocaster, believed to be the first Stratocaster in Ireland, and I think he got it when he was about 15. The sort of legend or story has it that a guy who was in a show band had ordered a Buddy Holly type Stratocaster, and when it turned up it was sunburst instead of I think he was looking for a red one or a pink one, and so he used it for about 6 months, then put it in to be traded. And Rory at 15 paid it off in instalments, because I think it was about £100, which for him at the time was a huge figure. And so he paid it off in instalments by playing gigs, and it became his guitar till he passed away. It was his main guitar. It meant a hell of a lot to him, and was a huge part of his sound. Well, there's wear everywhere. Here is obviously from picking down. Rory had I think one of his parts of his playing was quite a strong, heavy right hand, and hence a lot of pinch harmonics that came across in his playing. And clearly here is where he's caught a lot of the wood, and it's been chipped out. Strange groove, and he's obviously split the scratch plate there, and it's just been held together by the screw as best it can. I mean, generally the whole body's just been worn away by years and years of playing, sweat. It was stolen in about 1966, and it was put on the RTE, the National Television of Ireland. Had a sort of crime watch of the time, and they did a report about it, and so it became the person whoever stole it chucked it in a ditch and left it, and I think it was there for a few days. So I think the road wear of it started then, a bit of rain, a bit of brambles or whichever took hold. And then Rory's sweat was just sort of so corrosive, it just started lifting the paint off. And just general, just a hard playing, just as dug in. I mean, there's grooves and just battered into everywhere. You know, there's belt buckles, everything. It's the most dented thing. But still, just in its own way, it's kind of almost a piece of art, the way it's just worn itself together, you know. Rory's kind of check shirts and Levi's blue jeans, and you can see across here, and then more on the guard there, that the denim's sort of worn itself into the body of the guitar, which is you have to do quite a few hours playing to do that, I think. So it's I've never seen that on another guitar where the sort of blue denim has managed to imprint itself in it. In the sort of late 70s, he felt that he got given a 25th anniversary Strat by Fender, and he felt that they gave it to him because they were kind of embarrassed that he was going around with this absolutely beaten to hell Strat, and they kind of felt that maybe he couldn't be bothered or afford to get a new guitar. And but for him, it was just I think it was probably that time when it got stolen. It meant so much to him that that first thing, and he'd worked so hard to pay it off, that to lose it and then to get it back was just like, okay, I'm not going to ever let this go again. It was so important to him, and just like I say, just played it to death. And I don't know, I don't think he would have swapped it for anything in the world. So while he might have told people, oh, it's it's whatever, I think truthfully it was kind of his wife. The Telecasters were more for the I think bluesier feel. Because he was quite traditional in that way, that if Muddy Waters played slide, he would have played it on and Rory said, it was like on a Telecaster, then Rory should sort of follow suit. And a big thing for Rory slide wise was playing on Muddy's London sessions, and I think he learnt a lot from Muddy Waters at that session, and sort of in that kind of way, if that's how Muddy does it, that's how I do it, sort of thing. The white 66 Tele, Roy didn't customize much. He obviously liked the tone from there on in, and he had that from the Taste days. And that was just a really sharp, stinging slide, high action, guitar. Like I said, just the pinging of the notes, and he really, dug into that one. And the Esquire, that went through so many different, looks and formations. It initially started out as a sort of, natural, finish with a black scratch plate and the one pickup, and then it got the story is that it got ran over at an airport by a luggage trolley. So when it got mended, it got painted a bit of a funny colour that looked slightly green in certain lights, and he hated that. So then he had it finished all black with a white scratch plate, And then over time, he put in a middle pickup, bridge and neck, and he moved it all around. And that one, I think he's just got he liked that one. He kind of played it more in the sort of around the 74 period. Just a bit more of a heavier feel to the white one. And, just a bit dirtier in comparison. The white Tele's just very stinging and clean, and the Esquire's just a bit more brute force to it. Then he moved on to the Gretsch Corvette, and he modified that by breaking off the Bigsby tremolo arm. He wasn't a fan of tremolo arms, as this one testifies as well, and then put in a P90. He really liked P90 pickups for rhythm stuff, and then for sort of bluesier tracks. And that became his slide guitar, it was kind of the Bullfrog Blues kind of guitar, as it were. That one, again, just dirtier, a lot of drive to it. It was a cool sounding guitar, that one as well. Really started out in his show band days, which then went into Taste, and the first couple of solo albums with the Vox Ac30. That was kind of his late 60s, early 70s sound. He used that with a Rangemaster treble booster, and famously Brian May kind of took his sound from there as well. It's again a sharper tone that Rory used to have, and it was really just driving the Vox and using the treble master, just to, like, even pushing it that little bit further on sort of the stinging attack that he'd get from it. And then in about 73, Lou Martin joined as a keyboard player, and I think the dynamic of the band changed a bit there, and going from a 3-piece into a 4-piece. So he pulled back a little bit from that sort of really stinging guitar and went to Fender amps and Bassman and Concert and a Twin. And those, so it was more sort of a band vibe in sort of making space for the keyboards as well. I think he'd always, again, probably his roots in Ireland and folk music, and acoustic had always appealed to him a lot. Again, from Taste, there's a track called Hail. He played a lot, and his finger picking style was very, very strong. He got that from a lot of country players like Doc Watson. And he'd play the Martin D35, however you say it. And then he got a National Resonator, which I think is from 1932. And they became his sort of two, especially live, his sort of acoustic set. Because Rory would always do an acoustic set in a live show. He kind of about 5 songs of nailing everyone, and then he'd sort of give them a break, and he'd do about another 4 songs acoustic before going back live, electric. And the Martin, he played all sorts of songs on that, from Out in the Western Plain, open tuning, Lead Belly cover, to classic blues stuff like Banker's Blues, Too Much Alcohol. And the Resonator, I think most famously, is known for his cover of Tony Joe White's As the Crow Flies, which is a really great tune. Again, open, and his slide playing on that's fantastic, acoustic slide. If you make music and you really believe in your sound, it really, and you want it to be long lasting, it's just not to pay attention to trends and just play and write and do as you do. And that for me is like the biggest thing to take from Rory, sort of as a concept to music, is just be completely natural. I think that's why it's still relevant 40 years later. I think if he had done a glam album or a disco album or whichever else, it wouldn't work now.